issues. If you are a content creator and you have a platform of 3 million, 4 million people, and it's your job to analyze news and politics for a living, and yet you don't ever mention Gaza, it's like, I just don't understand how you would be able to sleep with yourself at night. I certainly wasn't able to when I worked for him. You know, to be honest, I sort of feel like I have blood on my hands.
Come see me on tour in Appleton, Wisconsin, Rosemont, Illinois, Chicago, Illinois, Louisville, Fort Wayne, Hermosa Beach, Sacramento, San Francisco. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. So here's David Pakman's caught taking money, dark money, to lie and shill for the Democratic Party, and then lied about it. Lies about having, AIPAC handlers and Democratic donor. And all. He pretends he's got integrity and all. He doesn't have any of it. Now his producer's coming out saying that his producer's like, I can't live with myself to work for this guy. And he's got blood on his hands. Let's watch.
It absolutely is deliberate. I actually have an email from him after he visited the White House last year on the day of Joe Biden's State of the Union address. He was invited to a private off-the-record meeting with Kamala Harris and several other content creators, including Brian Tyler Cohen, the Mycelis brothers from Midas Touch. And he told me that they all sort of talked amongst themselves at the White House, not in like an official capacity during the meeting, but, just casually as colleagues amongst themselves. And they talked about what their editorial stance is on Gaza. And he told me in an email that they talked amongst themselves and came to the conclusion that the topic is too divisive, it might drag down their channels, that it's a poison pill, and that it's better if they just don't talk about it at all. Now, Brian Tyler Cohen literally has never done anything on Gaza. Beyond that, during the 2020 primary, even though he was regularly putting out videos covering news and politics, never once mentioned Bernie Sanders during the 2020 primary. And we see today with this rise of Zohran Mamdani, has Brian Tyler Cohen covered him? No, not at all. So I would suggest that, yes, there absolutely is suppression on Gaza, but there also goes beyond that into like a broader shutting down of leftist issues. If you are a content creator and you have a platform of 3 million, 4 million people, and it's your job to analyze news and politics for a living, and yet you don't ever mention Gaza, it's like, I just don't understand how you would be able to sleep with yourself at night. I certainly wasn't able to when I worked for him. To be honest, I sort of feel like I have blood on my hands, where it's like he has this audience of 3 million people who are, broadly moderate, centrist-y, liberal types who, theoretically, if they did hear about what was happening there, then, they might have been more critical of Biden. There might have been potential to pressure him and change his policy on it. But because it was shut out entirely, it became much less present in the public discourse around a certain type of person who isn't getting their news from actual journalists, but paid shills for the Democratic Party.
So that's what David. So that's his own producer. He's saying he's not going to cover the biggest story right now because it might hurt Israel. And it might hurt the Democratic Party, so he's not going to cover it. So he's just a shill and a garbage person, and that's what David Pakman always has been. And I've resisted ever talking about him because I have a rule that I don't talk about people who attack me in bad faith ways, because that's just so they want me to talk about them. But now he's on he's got the AIPAC handler, he's got the good algorithm, so his show has got 3 million subscribers. You tell me. A guy who bores the cock off of anybody who could watch him for 5 minutes. Just like Lex Friedman.
I've never heard a good take from him.
Have never heard a good take from him either. And so there you go. I think
$1 billion Kamala spent on her campaign, and part of that went to David Pakman to really get the word out. Great job.
So let's watch. Here's and this is probably maybe a more disgusting part.
It's the access more than the money.
Yeah, well, if you look at this, he goes on. This guy goes on when you talk about how they'll just grab every nickel they can. This was somebody else added to the thread. This was from the same interview. Also, he puts an anti-Trump petitions under his videos on false pretenses. Says they are mainly to harvest data to get fed into his mailing list and to be forwarded to one of his benefactor organizations. Scummy behavior. So he puts an anti-Trump petition in the description of the video. Says here, sign here to tell Donald Trump to go fuck himself. And then they just use that data and give it to their organization, which probably gets sold elsewhere. So let's take a look.
Highly commented on. But while I was working for David Pakman, it was expressed to me that one of the greatest sources of value from Good Influence was these petition links. And it was actually my job to put the links to these petitions as a pinned comment on all of the YouTube videos that came out. I looked, some of the recent ones are, for example, like Tell Trump, Stop the Authoritarian Takeover of DC, Tell Trump, Don't Spend $200 million on a new ballroom. And the thing is, it was actually never...
that is just so outrageously transparent. Tell Trump, don't spend money on a new ballroom. Yeah, that's a serious petition. That's not data farming at all.
To me, if these petitions were even real, the chief purpose of them was data collection, to get information from the audience, their names, their emails, because when you're a big YouTuber, it can be really difficult to get that kind of data from your audience. And so everything that we collected would go on the mailing list. And it was also shared with me that it was also given to Good Influence. What Good Influence would do with that data, I'm not sure. It might sound like a small thing, but it's difficult to overstate like just how valuable that is.
Well, you're harvesting emails under a different pretense and then using those emails potentially for profit, right? You're either selling that email list to another Democratic consulting firm or a campaign or whatever. Like that's the goal of those data harvesting schemes.
And it always felt so scummy because the people who are signing these petitions, like they just think that they're, doing a good deed.
And Good Influence is directly paid. You mentioned, John, earlier
that guy is.
Wow.
I guess he's auditioning for the remake of Doctor Who or something.
Yeah, Doctor Who gives a shit.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's what he's doing. He's data harvesting. He's every scummy, slimy, underhanded thing you could think of. David Pakman's doing, and then he's lying to you, and he's pretending that other people who are calling out the corruption of the left, which is what we did with AOC around forced to vote, which is what we did with Bernie Sanders when he demanded nothing for his support of warmongers and anti-workers candidates like Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden. We called it out when he voted for the CARES Act, which was the largest upward transfer of wealth in the history of. We called out Bernie Sanders. We called him out when he lied about putting the. We called him out, and David Pakman would say that I'm toxic. Turns out he's the most toxic guy there. And this is pretty sweet that his own. So there he is. He's data mining. He's lying to you about Gaza. He's lying to you about Zionism. He's lying to you that he doesn't know how to pronounce the term AIPAC. He's a degenerate liar.
Is he from Brazil? And
now everybody knows. David Pakman? I don't know.
I could swear he was from Brazil originally, he said on a Rogan show.
Oh, maybe.
Oh, he's from Argentina.
Oh. Okay, there you go. Fantastic.
That's where the Israeli war criminals are fleeing.
That's right. That's right. Okay, so those are two segments. One is he's a degenerate liar. He doesn't know how to say AIPAC. And the second one is his producer lets you know what a scumbag he actually is. His own producer's blood on his hands.
When did the producer find out about the data scraping?
Right?
You think recently, or did he let that one go and then? I mean, good for you to saying it though, but I would be disillusioned right away by that.
I give him a tip of the hat for coming out and saying it. Tip of the hat.
Yeah, a lot of people don't.
A lot of people won't.
Even Taylor Swift is so not Taylor Swift, Taylor Lorenz is so disgusted she stopped wearing a face yarmulke.
Yeah. All right. I'll see you in Appleton, Rosemont, Chicago, Louisville, Fort Wayne, Hermosa Beach, Sacramento, San Francisco. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. Hey, the cost of everything is still out of control, and many of us are relying on credit cards to cover essentials. If that debt is piling up, you're not alone. Americans collectively owe over $1 trillion in credit card debt. You might have considered reaching out to my friends at American Financing, but hesitated because you don't want to give up your low mortgage rate. Well, there's good news. They've created the Smart Equity Loan. It's a solution designed to help you take control of your finances without touching your current mortgage. Unlike a HELOC, which can have varied interest rates, the Smart Equity Loan offers a fixed rate. That means one predictable monthly payment, giving you peace of mind. This loan allows you to leverage your equity in your home to pay off high-interest debt, free up your cash flow, and keep your existing low mortgage rate intact. It only takes 10 minutes to get started with no upfront or hidden fees. Call American Financing today and start saving now. That's 888-804-0303. That's 888-804-0303. Or visit AmericanFinancing.net/Jimmy. Come see me on tour in Appleton, Wisconsin, Rosemont, Illinois, Chicago, Illinois, Louisville, Fort Wayne, Hermosa Beach, Sacramento, San Francisco. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets.